You know, I wonder if our own self-image of ourself ever changes. And what I mean by this is, when you're feeling really good about yourself and then you walk by the mirror and all of a sudden you just start pulling yourself apart. Like, I know I do that with myself as much as I've worked on my own self-worth and self-image about myself. There's always still that piece of comparison and that piece of oh, I didn't think my stomach stuck out that far. Do you guys feel that, or am I alone on this feeling?
Definitely not alone on that feeling. Definitely not. I think also that is a reflection of how we have thought about ourselves, I think, for our entire life. Our generation, body image and being thin, being beautiful was glorified to be the end all be all of everything, right? That's what you had to be in order to have self-worth, in order to have success. You had to have that component, otherwise it wasn't a complete package. Certainly the media and all of those kinds of things, tremendously affected me. I mean, the person I aspired to be was Twiggy. I was like, if I could look like her, I would be like, and I know if there's anybody here, younger than, I don't know what, you're going to not even know who this person is. But yeah, like I just thought she was the most gorgeous thing under the sun and wanted to be thin like her. And that was my bar. That was where I held the bar. And if I couldn't be like that, it wasn't good enough. And of course I, never became that thin and never had a hairstyle like her and never had eyelashes like her. So
And I bet you did not expect everybody to look like her.
oh no, just me. I just wanted it's
Yeah,
just me. Yeah, me
that's
and
what I
her.
mean.
That's it. Yeah.
That's part of my little bit of a self-talk that I do within myself. Like, oh, so if somebody else walked by with the piece I could have been critiquing out, would I ignore them or think they weren't beautiful?
Yeah.
I don't know. Tracy G, what do you think?
I agree with Tracy that it's something that we were brought up with, that we were taught. And, I really tried hard with my girls. My mom was very much, against that type of stuff. And so I had at least that influence, but media, society, and all that stuff. And it's hard. It's hard to get, to not compare yourself to others. And especially like your body is your body. And, my big thing is learn to love your body. Learn to love your body because that's all you got. So yeah, it's hard.
But I think it's something like we always talk about, even when the three of us talk about mental health or emotional health, that this is still part of our I want to say mental health, because it's something that you have to, for me, I continuously work with. And it's not that every day I say, oh, I hate my body. That isn't it. It isn't that. But there are times where I find myself doing a little bit comparison with other people. And I think social media is huge in that aspect. And I have gone and unfollowed people that have triggered me because I thought they were too, I'll just say the word, too self-centered. And if your hair wasn't done and the makeup wasn't done and the filters weren't right and all of this piece, I found triggers that triggered me into going into comparison mode that I just unfollowed them. I just couldn't do it any longer. Even now to this day,
Well, I think when with our body too, it represents everything. So if I'm not comfortable with my body, I don't have the confidence. If I don't have the confidence, I'm not going to go for that opportunity, or I'm not going to voice my concerns or my opinions. Everything stems from, I feel, for me, that has a big part of how you interact with the world around you. If you're not happy with the way you look and you're always comparing, that seems to be your priority rather than the other things that you know, that are that you bring value to the world. That's what I
Right.
find.
And I totally agree about the confidence part, because I think, um, you know, the hardcore love your body regardless that's out there, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think, when you, like you said, Tracy, when you're not happy with what your body looks like, and not that you're looking for perfection, not that you're looking to try to be twiggy, but just that you're just simply not happy, it does chip away at your confidence. It does chip away at who you are as a person,
And
in
how you
terms of
value
how
yourself.
you,
Yeah.
and also how you show up, right?
Yeah.
It's also a big part of how it is that you show up. And I think it's really important for us to be able, I know for me, I often will look back at pictures of myself when I was younger and go, man, I was a babe. Like, geez, like I was really good looking. Unfortunately, I did not appreciate that at the time. That's the
Yeah.
thing, right? Like I can look back at a picture of myself at the same age that my daughter is right now and go, man, I had it all going on. Like what? And like, and yet it's still, I still know that at 30 I was going, I'm not skinny enough, I'm not skinny enough, I'm not skinny enough, you know. And I think for me, instead of the love my body, it's appreciate my body, appreciate what it does for me, appreciate what I can accomplish with it, you know. And Michelle, for you especially, I mean, you're pushing your body to the limits of running, and that marathon that you're doing, and the ultra run, and like all of these things, and you're really pushing yourself. So that body appreciation of what you are, what your body is capable of, is huge. And sometimes we just need to be reminded of what that looks like. You know, I can play with my grandson, I can go for walks, I can go for hikes, I can, all of these things that we just sort of like brush under the table and take for
Right.
granted,
Yeah.
until we see somebody who maybe can't do those things. And then
Yeah.
it's like, wow, I really, you know, is it perfect? No. Would I like some changes? Oh, sure. But you know what? In the long haul, I got to appreciate this skin that's mine.
But I can guarantee you, if we had Twiggy on here, she would probably tell you about her
Oh,
different
right.
body images that she didn't like. Like
Yeah.
we look at somebody else and think of perfection. And if you were to pull that person's brain back for a moment, oh, we have a visitor. If we pulled our brain back for a moment, that person's brain back, we would see that they have. And I think that's what people forget about.
Yeah.
Is we look at somebody else and think they have it all figured out and are perfect.
Yeah.
And we're really not seeing them 100%, 100% of the time. They can, I know there are people out there that say, this is the real me. There are no filters. I say what I want. And, you know, that's true to a point. I don't think anybody is 100% always that vulnerable all the time to people. And I think the reason why I asked this also was I was listening to a podcast the other day, and I don't know, have you guys know Lizzo, the singer? So she actually had a moment where she was thinking of giving up singing because she's so tired of people bashing her over her she's very comfortable with who she is and her size and everything. And she's tired of being just really attacked on social media. And that's where I'm like, you know, she's very comfortable where she is. And I think we have forgot that we're individuals and we should just be the healthiest, best version of ourselves. And our healthiest, best version isn't Twiggy. You know, I've been down to those sizes. I've been down to a size 4 and was the most miserable person but yet I got all this attention because I was so skinny.
Mm,
And I was miserable. I was surviving on anxiety meds and apple martinis.
mm.
I don't know. So
So
what do you do? So how, you can only talk so much, right? You're bombarded with society. You've got all this. What do you do as to not, what did you say? Not love your body, appreciate your body.
appreciate your body. So yeah, so even if we learn to start thinking it, we talk about gratitude all the time. Be grateful for things
Yeah.
you have, the small things you have or whatever. You know, being grateful of me being able to go out, and this weekend they pushed my body because she wanted to see the endurance that I could go. So I had 3 3-hour hikes 3 days in a row. And it was today my body is hurting, but it was a way of me. So my appreciation is that I was able to do that. So I think when you're able to do something, at the end of the night, being, I appreciate you, body. I appreciate for everything you did for me, for my lungs for working, for my eyes for seeing, my ears for hearing, that we just start appreciating the parts of our body that we then understand that moves us towards the loving of our body.
Yeah, I think it's like if you have grown up or even are in that space of I absolutely hate my body, you can't go, oh, I'm just gonna thought change this over to I
Yeah.
love my body.
Yeah.
Your
I
brain's
agree.
not going to
Absolutely
believe
agree.
whatever it is that you say. Like there's just no
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
So you have to go, okay, I don't love my body, but is there anything that I could actually appreciate about it?
Right.
My eyes are nice,
Yeah.
or my eyebrows are phenomenal, or whatever, right? Like you can start with that small thing, but it's going to be work to get to the point of full appreciation for your body if you are in a place of, I don't love it right now.
Well, that's where I think you should challenge your body, because you obviously don't know all you can do. So if you say like you're not a walker, start walking, start and going, this feels good. Or pickleball or something, eye hand coordination that you don't really think of. Like start doing things out of the norm to sit there and kind of shake yourself up and go, you know what? Yeah, look at me. Look at something I could not do 6 months ago and I can now because my body's allowing me to do it. I think you need that hand in hand, that again, action, motion with the thought process.
Yeah, I think,
Love it.
yeah, all of that. And I don't think any of us agree. We all agree. Sorry that we don't agree. We all agree. You don't just say one day, oh, I just love my body. Look at it. Isn't it beautiful? It's try to figure out when sometimes I think when we get dressed to go out, we talk about getting dressed to go to an occasion. And I know we've talked about downsizing your wardrobes and everything before. Find a feature you really love, and that's what you highlight. It's okay to camouflage parts you don't like. There is that. And again, I'm going to go back to Twiggy. I'm going to guarantee you there were things she wanted to camouflage.
Yeah.
And you highlight what your best features are. No different than you highlight your best competencies in your job, your best skill set in your job. But when you're in your job, you're going to talk about your best skills and not talk about what you're weakest at. You do the same thing within your mindset and your body. As much as we're saying to love our body, it's okay to have parts that, even if you have a part that you don't like, it's still part of your body, and you can learn to love it, work with it, understand it. Not everybody, I don't mean to sound cruel or mean. One, not everybody got to wake up this morning and use their body, and not everybody gets to use their body in a way that we can.
Yeah.
So when we start thinking and comparing ourselves to everybody else, we're not taking advantage of what everything our body has for us.
Well, and you really
I
notice
think
that with the injury, right? So if you've ever
Oh,
been
yeah.
injured, all of a sudden that thing that you just took for granted, you're just like, oh my, like, I don't care what my body looks like. Let's just get me back that I can walk properly right now or use my arm or whatever.
Yeah.
What was this time last year I going through? Cancer.
Mm.
You know, I just wanted the cancer out of me and to
Yeah.
be getting up and walking again. Like I had major surgery and stuff. Your life changes like this all the
Mhm.
time, every day. And I think we get so caught up in I need to look like, instead of if you want to be at a certain weight, make sure it's, then you have to work towards that. It doesn't happen overnight, but you have to love yourself as you're going there, because when you get there, if you haven't loved yourself as you're going there, you're not going to love yourself when you're there.
No, which is why a lot of people do the rebound way.
Yeah.
You are literally changing your identity, and when you arrive at that new place with your body, your mind has got to have embodied that new identity. Otherwise, you're still,
Right.
that person back here. And that's one of the critical things. But what's so interesting is you we get focused inward like that, like, oh, I'm sure people are looking at my stomach or my hips or whatever, and nobody sees it.
No.
Like, nobody sees that. What they see is what you are talking about, what you're saying, how your smile, how, the beauty of the personality and who you are. That's what people are looking at. Right?
Exactly.
We get
Right.
so focused on, oh, they're going to see this or that, or oh, what are they thinking?
Right.
And it's just not true. It's just not true at all.
And usually
And
they're thinking the same thing. Like they're stressing out about what is everyone else thinking about me?
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Exactly.
And I'm not going to say you're not going to come up to a person who is very, I'm going to say superficial, and like look at things like that. Even when I've been with people and I've heard the comments, and personally, then I just understand I don't need that person in my life. Like that's not, even if it's somebody I don't know, then to me that's the universe's sign. Like you don't need this person in your life, so they're showing you a sign. Like don't need you in my thing. And also, those are also internal things that they're struggling with and don't know how to struggle with it, so they vocalize it. That's another thing also, but that's a whole nother episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, self-image. So when I catch myself in that type of mode, I don't say, oh, now Michelle, love your body, this is it. No, I'll say, yeah, maybe I was walking hunched over. We all walk hunched over. We all look like, Michelle, stand up, be proud. This is your body. Stand up, be proud. This is, God gave this to me. You're working hard on it. Love it. You just went out yesterday, did 11 miles, 10 miles.
That's something to celebrate.
Yeah.
And I think for the youngins,
Yeah.
it doesn't change. If you don't figure out in your teens, 20s or whatever, you'll be sitting over here still trying to figure it out. So, embrace figuring it out, embrace appreciating, loving, whatever you want to call it. But nothing changes in that mindset until you change it. It will sit with you like 40 years of that. That's not good.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's a lot of energy on not liking something about yourself. That's a lot of energy. Like put that towards something else.
Yeah. So just start small. Like if you do something, if you walk up a flight of stairs to do something, thank your body. Thank it. Like, legs, thanks for bringing me up the stairs. Like when you find you appreciate the little things, it like stacks up into larger and bigger things, and it changes your outlook. If you start changing your outlook about yourself, then you start changing outlooks on other things within your life,
Mm,
you know, on that aspect.
true story.
But I like that, Tracy G, when you say start now, no matter what age,
Yeah.
because here we are, we still have those bouts of it. We're not as like freaked out about it. It does not control our life, but those thoughts still enter within our minds. We now know what to do with them. Go
But
ahead.
I was on holiday,
Yeah.
and I was diving in the pool, and they videoed it. And the first thing I looked at, do you think it was the dive? Do you think
No.
it was that? I went right to the stomach. Oh
Yeah.
my God, look at that right away. That was the first place I looked. I didn't look at the fun, everyone have fun. It was like, oh my God, look at that.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
know better. And I know better.
Right. So it is ingrained in us to a certain
Totally
point.
ingrained.
Right. And we just, because the three of us have worked so hard on our emotional and mental health, like Tracy G, you picked that up like that. You're like, holy crap. No, I was out in where you were. I dove into a pool. I was having fun. That's the memory I'm going to remember. And that's what it is. And I had a friend one day, her daughter walked by and she said to me, oh, look at that. I don't know if you guys only look at that beautiful shape she has between her legs. Wouldn't you just kill for that? And I'm like, I've never even thought about that. Like,
But now I have to.
isn't it so?
I'm gonna start looking a different way now.
But that was a thing. That's a thing for the younger age. The space all the way up,
Yeah,
into your pelvis, the space between your legs.
yeah.
And I'm like, huh, why? Like, wow.
Things
The
you
gold
learn.
standard.
Yeah. Like, what if my body makeup doesn't allow that to happen? Does that
Right.
mean I'm
Means
like,
you're a failure.
yeah.
You're
And
a
that's so
failure.
wrong.
That's it.
That's not what I go out there all the time. I'm working with my legs consistently. I'm telling you right now, I don't have a space between my legs as we move up. Sorry, my thighs still rub. I have to wear certain shorts so I don't get chafed. I don't. It's my body shape. That's the way it is.
But isn't it sad though? Like, I mean, that is a huge commentary on the pressure that the female body has been under since God knows when it started to even now. Like, it's still prevalent today that, you need to have this space between your legs, or you need to have arms that look like this, or you need to have, whatever. Like, it's so sad that we are still, it's 2023 and we're still pushing this stuff on the human form. Like, what's wrong with us?
Right.
Like, honestly, we got to quit it. Like, we just got to quit it. Like, it's got, we need to start focusing on what's super important. And that is your brain and your abilities and your capabilities and your intelligence and how you serve the world, not what you look like.
No.
Well, good luck with that.
I know, seriously.
But
don't you wonder about other cultures whereby you don't see the female form?
Yeah.
Like, it's just not, like, it's not shown. It's not, you have no idea what's under that clothing. No idea. How do they value? What is it that they value?
Right.
That would be an interesting conversation to have with somebody from that culture.
Right.
To be able to understand what their norm is, because I'm sure it is not, they are not fixated on it the way Western culture is.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, they're not.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. People will say, oh, it's Hollywood. Oh, it's this, it's that. I think it's a combination of all kinds of things. I think it's social media. I think it's Hollywood. I think it's modeling. I think it's all kinds of stuff that, we talk about body image, but you know, I can go into a store, I can go pick up 7 pairs of jeans in 7 different stores, all the same size, and hold them up, and they're all 7 different sizes, even though they all stay the same size.
Yeah.
And that screws with women's minds.
Oh, totally.
Or if you hit a certain size, like a size 14, we're now going to put you into the plus size.
Mm.
Why? Who said that? You know, and so that's where we put our image on. It's between people drive these numbers into us, but nobody drives into our mind the self-worth and self-love of there is no perfect body out there.
But
But
even
that
just
is
to
Western
normalize
culture.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the thing though, even just to normalize it, like how many times, I mean, you could go to a magazine rack and pick up 50 magazines with whatever subjects you wanted in it and flip through them, and there's no normal women in there. They're all super thin or super fit or, you know, super on some other spectrum. And it's like, how, like, this is what you're constantly fed your whole life. It's like, well, obviously I need to be like that. That's what I should be.
Or it's super thin or the plus size. Like, so if I'm not super thin and plus size, and if I'm plus size, I'm not super thin. Like there isn't any like normality. And I'm going to go down a real big rabbit hole because there is that chart that the doctors use. Your height and your weight should be between this certain thing. And if your weight isn't between the certain thing, then they'll tell you you're obese. Well, I've been called bordering obese at times. And I'm like, excuse me? You know, because I might be a little more muscular than somebody else. And muscle weighs more. Why don't you take everything into account? Like, so, I mean, we're going down these huge rabbit holes, but I think we have to normalize loving our body where we are now and learning to be healthy with our body. I don't think we should abuse our body, but I think wherever you are today, you have to start loving your body.
Or appreciating it.
Yes, appreciate. I'm sorry. I like that word, appreciate. Appreciate your body where you are today and what your body does for you today.
And it doesn't mean that you can't want change. There's nothing wrong with that. But you have to be able to appreciate where it is right now.
Yes.
Because then you'll appreciate the change that much more.
So on that note, put in the comments, tell us what you feel about body image and the appreciation of your body. We would love to hear from you. And you guys have been sending us some wonderful comments, and I hope you go back to read our answers because we really do appreciate it. We really do. And never forget in the comments, if there is something you want us to expand on within that topic or touch another topic, always put that in the comments because that helps us. Don't forget to hit subscribe so you know every Wednesday when a new one comes out. Share this with a friend that might need to hear this. Until then, bye.
Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you as a regular member of our community.